Appendix P, Handling and Storing Breast Milk. Breast milk is a raw food, and even though it is teeming with antibodies and other protective elements, care should be taken in the collection, handling, and storage processes. It is crucial to practice good hand washing and hygiene when handling breast milk. Everything that comes into contact with milk should be clean and dry. If the baby is premature, fragile, ill, or hospitalized, there may be particular precautions recommended by the hospital or caregivers. For example, certain containers may be specified and the containers must be sterilized, not merely clean. In some cases, milk for hospitalized babies may need to be frozen right away or never frozen. Breast milk storage containers. Reusable glass or plastic hard-sided containers are considered the best for storing breast milk. It is important that the cap fits securely. The same companies that make pumps and other equipment make milk storage containers. In addition, some companies make hard-sided containers specifically for breast milk. Other hard-sided plastic food storage containers with tight lids, as well as small glass jars, may also be used. Plastic bags are also available that have been specifically manufactured to collect and store human milk. Some of these fit into the container that milk is pumped into in pumping systems, and the bags also may fit into baby feeding bottles. Bags can be easily contaminated during handling. They may be awkward to handle and can also leak when being defrosted if they have been overfilled. Each container of milk should be labeled at a minimum with the date. When a baby is premature or hospitalized for any reason, the hospital will either provide labels or, at a minimum, provide specific information that should be on the label, including date, patient ID number, unit, and so on. If the milk will be going to a daycare setting, the baby's name should be clearly legible and written with a waterproof, smudge-proof marker. In our opinion, if storing a lot of milk is anticipated, we would encourage trying samples of a few different storage systems before investing in one. If freezing milk in bags, we would encourage putting a group of them inside a large freezer-grade plastic bag to protect them from damage in the freezer. Storing milk. Specific storage recommendations will be given if the milk is being stored for a premature, fragile, ill, or hospitalized baby. Some neonatal intensive care units use only frozen milk. In other cases, the milk should not be frozen or warmed so as to preserve all of the components of human milk. If the baby is hospitalized, the instructions may include storing and freezing the milk in the same small quantities that the baby is being fed. Any milk that is left over from a feeding should be thrown away after 1 or 2 hours. How long can milk be kept at room temperature in the refrigerator or in the freezer? You may notice that the suggestions are more conservative than some others you may see. That's because they are public health recommendations based on evidence and aimed at keeping milk at the highest possible quality. Algorithms for milk storage of fresh and previously frozen human milk for healthy term babies follow. To use these algorithms, ask about when the milk will be needed. So ask your families when they're going to be needing the milk, and then that will determine when you need to defrost or the milk and to have it be ready for the baby. Although milk can be safely stored in the refrigerator for up to 4 days, if the refrigerator is colder than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius, it is ultimately going to be stored in the freezer. It should be frozen as soon as possible. Let me read that again. Although milk can be safely stored in the refrigerator for up to 4 days, if the refrigerator is colder than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius, if it is ultimately going to be stored in the freezer, it should be frozen as soon as possible. So basically, even if you intend to freeze it, you shouldn't pump it, leave it in the refrigerator, and then freeze it. You should freeze it as soon as you finish pumping it. That's what I'm gathering from this bullet point. Milk is best kept for 6 months in the freezer, colder than at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 18 degrees Celsius. But freezer storage up to 12 months is acceptable according to the CDC. Over the course of a day, small expressions of chilled milk can be added to milk stored in the refrigerator. Always place the milk in the coldest part of the refrigerator or freezer. That is usually not on the door or near the fan, in a frost-free type of freezer. Although milk can be kept at room temperature, less than 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius, it's a good idea to put it in a cooler bag with ice and use it within 4 hours. I put a note to myself. I have so many notes on this page because this is a biggie when I'm giving postpartum support. Thawing and warming breast milk. Always thaw frozen breast milk in the container in which it was frozen. There's 2 charts here. I'm going to skip it over so that I can finish reading the section, and then I'm going to go back to the charts. The refrigerator is an excellent place to defrost frozen milk. Refrigerated or frozen milk can be warmed in a container of lukewarm water or under lukewarm running tap water. Never use a microwave to thaw or warm breast milk or any other baby foods. There are cases in which babies have been burned because hot spots were not detected by the adult. Breast milk is especially vulnerable to microwaves, and components can be damaged. Thawed breast milk should be kept cold until just before being fed to the baby. Thawed previously frozen breast milk should be refrigerated and used within 24 hours of being defrosted. Thawed breast milk should never be refrozen. So the key takeaways: warm the breast milk in another container of warmed water, or under the tap water, but never warm it in whatever container it was frozen in. And then it should be kept cold until you're ready to feed the baby, and then that's when you put it in the a bowl of warm water to warm it up. And if you thaw the breast milk, that's it. You can't use it again. You can't refreeze it and then use it again. Okay. In our opinion, milk should be stored in containers in the amount that the baby is going to be offered at one feeding, not stored in the amount that has been expressed. Expressed human milk is a valuable commodity that deserves careful handling. So this is what I used to do when my daughter was an infant. I would express, just like they said, I would express, and sometimes I would have more milk per expression, but I would divide the milk into like 4-ounce sections, into 4-ounce bags. And that way, when she got older and she needed 8 ounces, I could just put 4 and 4 together. If I had extra, I would make sure that it was 2 ounces. And if there's still a little bit extra, I would cup feed it to her, just because I wanted to keep the measurements equal, because it was like an indicator for me. And I was not able to breastfeed her all the time because I had gone back to work at 3 months. So it's just an easy mental model, just to make sure, like, when you're storing the milk, store it in equal units, so that 4 or 8 or whatever that the baby feeds at, store it at that amount. It makes it easier for you when you're thawing it and you're getting ready to feed. You don't have to do any additional measuring. So now I'm going to read the charts. There's 2 charts here in figure P1 and P2. So figure P1, it says public health recommendations for safe storage of expressed milk for healthy term babies. Freshly expressed milk. If you plan to use it after 4 days, freeze at 0 degrees or negative 18 degrees Celsius for up to 12 months. If you plan to use within 4 days, refrigerate it at less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or less than 4 degrees Celsius. And if you plan to use within 4 hours, room temperature less than 77 degrees Fahrenheit or less than 25 degrees Celsius, or preferably a cooler bag with ice or refrigerated. And then figure P2 is the public health recommendations for safe storage of previously frozen thawed expressed milk for healthy term babies. If the thawed previously frozen breast milk, if you plan to use it after 1 day, don't. And never refreeze human milk after thawing. If you plan to use it within a day, refrigerate it at less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or less than 4 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. So once you thaw it, you have 24 hours to use it. If you plan to use it within 1 to 2 hours, room temperature at less than 77 degrees Fahrenheit or less than 25 degrees Celsius, and preferably in a cooler bag with ice or refrigerated. And that is the end of Appendix P.